Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Jason Van Amelsworth from Trillium West. This week we are going to talk a little bit about open houses in 2019. Now, the weather in Kitchener, Waterloo has been brutal the last couple of weeks. It's cold, it's snowy, it's icy. The universities in town have had closings during the week. It's just been mayhem. And a question that's been coming up with a few people I've been talking to is, do I need to displace my family for 2 to 4 hours on the weekend to let my realtor host an open house for me? There's this long-standing belief that open houses are going to be this magical time where all of a sudden every interested buyer is going to come into your house, they're going to want to write offers, they're going to throw money at you, and really in 2019 that's just not the case. I don't know if it ever really was, but in 2019 it definitely isn't. We are living in a time right now where people want to work on their own schedules and timelines. And with technology making it so easy for motivated buyers to reach out to their realtors and set up private showings, we're often finding a lot of realtors sitting in open houses with absolutely nobody walking through them because the interested buyers have already come through with their agents or they already have something lined up for the coming week. Let's talk about this from a realtor's perspective. Now, from my side, open houses can be wonderful. They're a great way for a realtor to meet potentially motivated buyers, not usually for your property specifically, but people who at least have an interest in real estate, people that I can keep in touch with or I can add to a database to give more information, whatever it might be. For realtors, open houses can be a really good source of getting your face in front of people. Now, don't get me wrong. When realtors are in your home trying to sell your property, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to sell your property specifically. People who come through open houses to look around tend to be nosy neighbors or people who are just casually interested in the real estate market, not necessarily people who are actively looking to purchase at that time. Usually if people are coming through an open house, they haven't even taken the motivated first step of sitting down with an agent on the other side to get an idea of what's going on in the market, making sure that their finances are all in order, understanding the process of purchasing a home. Now, this isn't a bad thing. It's definitely not a bad thing because the more eyes that get on your property, the better. That's just kind of the way it is. The more people that can get through your property, the more likely you are to have somebody who, even if they're not interested themselves, maybe they have a family member or a friend who would be interested in that property. So getting eyes on the property is certainly a big thing. But a stat from 2017 showed that almost 65% of realtors do not always recommend open houses to their sellers. In 2019, we live in a time where people are going to set up their private showings. So as we go into the last couple weeks of February here and into March, it's going to be wet and cold and icy and snowy. And if it's going to become a huge inconvenience for you to move your young children out of your home, or if you tend to have a hard time getting out of your home normally, maybe you don't need to be looking at open houses as this time where you go and organize getting all of your stuff out of the house for 2 hours for you to sit at Tim Hortons so that your realtor can sit at your property with nobody coming through it. It can be a conversation for you to have with your realtor, absolutely. And maybe the open house is a big part of their marketing strategy if you're only planning on sitting on the market for a couple of days or a week. But this is just a common misconception that I think people have about open houses, is that they are going to be an absolute deal breaker. And I say this all the time on this channel, is that the online presence is king in 2019. Don't forget about that. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. Hope it's given you something to think about. If you want to see more videos from me, feel free to check it out up here. And if you want to subscribe and not miss a week, click right here, right there. Thanks, guys.